Okay. All right, we're going to go to we're going to go to Susan, and we're going to actually venture into a real estate question, which we're totally probably incapable of answering. But go ahead, Susan, you're on.
Hi there. How are you doing this evening?
We're doing well. How are you doing?
Fine.
Well, I noticed that you don't normally deal with this, but maybe you could send me in the right direction.
There's a chance we'll
Sum it
know
up
about
as
this.
briefly as possible.
Okay.
All right.
My father passed away. He had a house up in Ohio, and he deeded it to all three of the children.
Uh-huh.
The one
Now, he deeded it before he passed away, or
was living in the house.
Okay.
And he was renting it from my father. And when my father passed away, we made an agreement that he would buy me and my other brother out.
Okay. Now, you say your father deeded it to. Did he just leave it in his will, or actually do a deed before his death?
He put it in the will that the house would be deeded to the three of us.
Okay. Right.
Yeah, so that when he passed away, the deed,
right. So
the people that took care of it automatically put the deed in our three names.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
And instead of selling it, the one brother, because he was living there, wanted
he wants to buy you out. Right.
And my husband is concerned that in this agreement that maybe I have to pay, because now our agreement is that over a 4-year period of time, he would pay me so much a month. Am I liable for taxes on that because it was part of the estate?
Well, you're liable. That's pretty easy, I think. You're liable for taxes because you're an owner.
Well, I don't think the house has been deeded.
Okay, now my brother pays all of the property
No, I
taxes.
think, didn't you say that you wound up with a deed in your name?
Yeah, the deed was put in all
yeah, so
three of our
you're
names.
an owner.
Okay, yeah, well, you're liable.
So as an owner,
taxes.
then you're liable for taxes.
Okay, well, in the agreement for him to buy us out, he was liable to pay all of the property, fire, and whatever taxes that they have in Ohio.
Who did this agreement for you? Is this just something you sat down and wrote out on the kitchen table?
Oh, no. We had a lawyer draw it up.
Because his interest in the house can be security for this deal.
Yes.
If the lawyer did it right.
I'm just wondering, do I have to pay what my husband called like leisure tax or something like that because I receive money every month instead of getting, like when my father passed away, a lump sum of money for the sale of the house? Instead, I'm getting it in a period of 4 years.
Is that well, that's actually, yeah, you're not renting the house. This is just really a time purchase agreement.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
And
brother and sister.
Okay, well, you are facing for the sale of the 1/3 interest in your house. You are going to be taxed based on the installment tax method, and there's a way of calculating the actual cost benefit because you are selling something that has value that you are receiving income from one form or another, and you are going to be taxed on it.
But don't you get a stepped up basis?
Well,
in
it depends
the house
on what the basis. It depends on the value of the house at the date of death was a determination. And once that determination is made, that's what Bill said, that's the basis of the house. Any amount above that basis in terms of the selling price, you're 1/3 of it, you would be taxed on. But you're correct. The basis would not be taxed.
When something passes to you, the taxes, the estate can be taxed. And a lot of states will tax the estate too. So then whatever that value is, that's the value you've established. And you're going to pay taxes only on a profit you make that's over and above that value. More need for lawyers probably, unfortunately, or accountants at least. But I think the answer is
I sold it to him for like next to nothing, my part.
Well, then you didn't make a profit.
No.
No,
so
definitely
you
not.
shouldn't. But you're going to have to involve an accountant in this to make sure it's done properly. I mean, we don't know what the well, Bob actually is an accountant, and maybe he does know what the reporting requirements are.
I don't have any
but I would go to an accountant because sometimes you need accountants even though you might not owe anything, you have to file a report with the government who wants to know everything.
Okay.
So you may be all right. And if your brother keeps to the agreement, it may work out for everybody.
Yeah. Oh, he's been doing real good.
Great.
Well, that's fortunate, because a lot of times what
because usually when we get these kind of calls,
it's terrible.
Yeah.
All right, we're going to go to Stephen. Stephen, are you there?
Yeah, I'm
Hey,
here.
Stephen.
How you doing tonight?
We're doing all right. What's up?
I have a quick question. I was in an accident last year,
Okay.
and the vehicle was not in my name, and therefore I was not able to get insurance on it. I had to get someone else to get insurance on it, and the insurance lapsed, being by my ex-wife, and I was in the accident, and I didn't know the insurance lapsed, and now the insurance company is coming after me for the money. And I know in state of Alabama that if the vehicle's not in your name, then you can't get insurance on it. And I was wondering if there's anything that I could do to fight
Well, now, wait just a second. You're driving a car. The car doesn't have any insurance. You have an accident. You're not going to be able to pay anything from insurance.
Well, it could be it must be whatever insurance company paid the other party is coming back on a sub-road claim, is what it sounds like.
Well, either way, you are legally liable for the damages that you've caused if you don't have insurance.
And the fact that you
basic.
You kind of thought you had insurance but didn't doesn't change that analysis at all, unfortunately.
Are you in Alabama or Florida?
Well, I'm in Alabama at the moment, but the accident occurred in Georgia.
Well, yeah, you got 48 different problems. You need to find a Georgia lawyer to try to respond to that question. Generally speaking, I think Bill and I are in agreement that you are responsible for the accident, regardless
but
of the fact.
some insurance company is coming after you, and they can, you know, if somebody's responsible for hurting another person, and that injured person's insurance steps up, well, then they kind of can take over the claim, and that's called subrogation. And it kind of sounds like a subrogation claim that they're making against you, which is very common. And you know, most of the time, it's a perfectly valid claim.
And all of the reasons that you might think of that might be an excuse for not having insurance.
Well, certainly
don't help
not knowing.
Right.
I mean, you're not going to get out of this because you thought there was insurance. That there's no help for you there.
Okay, I mean,
it doesn't matter.
That,
I mean,
you know, but you know, like the company that's going after me for the money, they're one of the ones that won't allow you to have insurance if the vehicle's not in your name.
Well, I don't think that changes anything.
No.
That's not going to change anything. I mean that.
Well, and that's just a good policy, not to allow somebody to get insurance if you don't own the car.
You have to have what's called an insurable interest
in it. Yeah.
You know, I can't just figure somebody's going to die and run out and get life insurance on them unless I have some connection with them somehow. There's a reason for that.
All right, Stephen, thank you very much for calling. You're watching The Law Show with Bob and Bill Rankin, and we will be back after this short break. Okay, we're back. Bob Kerrigan and Bill Rankin tonight. We are taking calls primarily in the field of personal injury and accidental death cases. We also talk about any kind of case that's in litigation, that is, where trial lawyers have to go to court before a judge or jury and try a case. We're happy to respond to other questions occasionally, but we prefer to address all of the callers. Many times our lines are fully blinking here with people trying to call in, and we like to take other calls when we can, but we prefer to stay within the field that our firm practices in, which is the accidental injury, death claims, and civil litigation, lawsuits that involve actually people going to trial, real trial lawyers. All right, we're going to take John quickly here. John?
Hey, John.
Yes, I'm here.
Okay, you're on the air.
Okay, my question is related with the contract that my wife and we signed a couple months ago with one of these timeshare companies.
Mm-hmm.
We signed this contract. Unfortunately, I don't have a job right now, and my wife just got laid off.
Mm-hmm.
We would like to know what is the best way to get out of this deal, because we cannot afford the payments every month.
Well, you and lots of other
Yeah,
people.
yeah. Well, there's the fact that you can't afford the payments doesn't change your obligations under the contract. I mean, one way to get out of payments is to go bankrupt, which has other consequences and other considerations. But to answer your question strictly, if you went bankrupt, you'd lose your interest in the timeshare, but you wouldn't have to make any payments. So that's, you know,
Or you could
that's not
notify the timeshare people and say, listen, I don't have any money. My wife lost her job or whatever the excuse
And I'm
is.
willing to, what sometimes works, sometimes banks do this, is called a deed in lieu of foreclosure. So let me just deed this back to you instead of you having to foreclose on me because I don't have any money. And they might do it. It's worth a try.
Yeah, but not being able to pay is unfortunate, but it's not a legal defense to a contract. And you have a contractual obligation to pay it, but you may be able to get out simply by writing him a letter saying the circumstances and that we cannot afford it and that we can't continue to pay for it, and enclose the keys and tell them you're walking away from
Yeah.
it.
Now
okay?
that doesn't mean they won't
Might still come after you.
They can come after you. They can then they can foreclose and they can sell your interest in an auction, and if it comes up short of what you owe, then you can have no timeshare and still have the debt, and it can be it can wind up as a judgment against you, which would cause other problems.
Okay?
I got a question related.
We don't have
with
any
the,
good news for you here, John. Go
the
ahead.
foreclosure.
You have what?
Foreclosure.
I got a question related with you guys were talking about the foreclosure.
Uh-huh.
How will it affect my credit? And
Well, if you have a
basically,
foreclosure,
it will affect my credit too.
Sure.
If you have a foreclosure, it's going to really whack your credit good.
Yeah.
I mean,
Certainly bankruptcy is not great for your credit either. I mean, well, just not paying your bills is bad for your credit, but a lot of the folks who are worried about their credit would be better off without any credit, it seems to me. Maybe the folks in Washington ought to hear this message that, you know, if you can't pay for your real estate, you're not a victim to be bailed out by the government. There are, you know, which is another
All right.
consideration entirely.
We're going to go to Lee. Lee, are you there?
Yeah, they're going to have me next.
Lee?
Lee?
Hello, Lee.
Hey, yes, sir. I was just curious. I had children with a gentleman, and in '99 he went to prison.
Uh-huh.
Okay. What is going on is that now that the children are of age, the child support is coming back on me for $20,000. How do I go back and make him have to split the bill with me?
How does the child support come back on you? If you were taking care of the kids, aren't you the recipient of the child support?
Yes, sir, I was, but in 2004, my youngest child had passed away. And what had happened was, when that had happened, they took him and placed him with my mother. And whenever, of course, 12 years old.
Oh, I see. Yeah. So
see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And now they're coming back on totally just me.
Yeah.
Well, they're coming back on the person who's solvent, probably.
Right.
You know, the father
Right.
of the children is not solvent.
And you would certainly have. I mean, if probably they can. You know, usually a creditor can pick whoever they want to go against, and then
Right.
you would have the right to
Dispute that in a court of law.
No, not well. You always have the right to dispute it, but that doesn't mean you're going to win.
Right.
You would have the right to go and get a judgment against the father of the kids who was in prison, but for his share of whatever you paid. But the problem there is collecting it.